Fortnite Chapter 5 Season 3 has been out for a couple days now, and in my 7 years of playing Fortnite, I don't know that I've ever seen a more polarizing season. It seems to me like the community is totally split in half. Half the players love the chaos, half the players hate it. And so in this video, I kind of wanted to ask the question, does Chapter 5 Season 3 suck? And it's a long-winded answer, but I think the answer is kind of. So with that being said, let's get into it. I put up a poll on my YouTube community post. Again, if you guys don't have notifications on, turn notifications on. You guys can participate in those posts and potentially make it into one of my videos. That's where a lot of the inspiration from my videos come from. But I asked a simple question: are you liking Chapter 5 Season 3 so far? And it has almost 400 votes, which is a pretty substantial enough serving size. And actually, the overwhelming majority of you guys said yes, you are enjoying this season. I think we need to go back to Chapter 5 Season 2 and look at why that season and this season are so starkly different. I think with all things considered, last season was pretty tame. I mean, besides Chains of Hades and Zeus's Thunderbolts, I think last season was pretty tame in its loot pool. There wasn't anything crazy chaotic, I don't think. And then Fortnite just decided to do a complete 180 and now it is total chaos. And don't get me wrong, the chaos isn't a bad thing. I just disagree with the way that they're going about it. And the biggest complaint that I'm seeing so far has to do with the vehicles, and this is kind of the elephant in the room with this season. Obviously, they are making an intentional effort to make cars stronger and make people travel in cars and have more car warfare this season. That's very obvious with all of the vehicle mods. I think the balancing is way off though, especially in zero build. I've seen clips, I'm sure you guys all have seen the clips of Ninja quitting the game, not playing because, you know, as a no build player, what do you do when you have a car with a grenade launcher turret on top of it? You can't build, you can't hide, you can't do anything. People have literally indestructible cars. It is truly car warfare, and I think to an extent it actually is really fun, but I've seen people bring up the point that maybe this should have just been an LTM, and it would have been better as a LTM with, you know, indestructible cars and everyone driving around blowing stuff up, instead of that being the only option in Battle Royale. And to be honest with you, right now it almost feels like it's either you have a car or you're dead. And don't get me wrong, the chaos is super fun, but it's just getting annoying in my opinion. And I think the second problem to follow up on this is that there's really no good counter to these cars. There's really only two serious counters in the game right now. You can either, one, just try your best to get in the car with them, and then once you're in their car, they can't kill you with the car, obviously, unless they want to like drive it off the map or something. Or you can try and use like nitro gloves and try and, you know, slam them from above and try and do damage that way. But these cars have 1100, 1200, 1300 health with, you know, bulletproof tires with grenade launchers on top. And let me just tell you, it's not hard to heal these cars up. If you do 800 damage to someone's car, you just drive to a heal station, you literally just sit there for about 5 seconds and your car is back to full. It's really, really bad. And don't get me wrong, I think it's fun, as I've previously mentioned, but I think it's a little too far. So I think that there's a couple ways Epic Games could go about this. Obviously, the cars are way too strong. Now, will they get tuned? I don't know. We saw with Season X with mechs how absolutely broken those were, even more broken than the vehicles we're seeing right now, and they literally barely got touched for the whole season. So there's no telling if they'll do something, but in my opinion, I think the car stuff needs to be tuned down just a little bit. Either the health of the cars, obviously they're not going to get rid of the brand new mods. They just added grenade launcher, turret, bulletproof tires, that type of stuff. They're not going to get rid of that. That goes with the whole theme of the season, but something needs to be tuned about them because they are absolutely way too strong. And I don't even play no builds and I still feel like they're strong. In no builds, it's an absolute disaster right now. And I also can't ignore, besides the vehicles, the nitro splash. It's actually a really good idea too. It's just like slap juice essentially, makes you run faster, all that type of stuff. But there's one glaring problem that I've seen that is going to cause so many issues if it's not fixed, and that is the fact that you can literally just run through walls. If you haven't seen the clips, I'll try and get some on the screen now. you can literally just sprint into walls and break them infinitely. It does not matter. You just keep sprinting, you will just keep breaking walls, and that is a problem. I'm not sure if this is Epic's intent to kind of nerf building in a sense with the strength of these vehicles and the fact that you can literally just sprint through walls. And of course, this is a builds only mode issue, so I just think that this does not belong in the game in the current state. Regular Nitro Splash with the increased sprint, the increased attack sprint duration, all that stuff is good, but running through walls is a little too broken in my opinion, and that has no place in the game in my opinion personally. So I think there's a couple ways that they could go about maybe balancing this. I think one, maybe make it so that you can't go through actual built walls, so I'm talking wood, brick, and metal walls, and maybe just the environments walls, you know, at the POIs, the pre-built walls, stuff like that. That might be a better way to balance it. Or maybe make it so that it only breaks through one type of wall, so maybe the strongest wall, metal, maybe it'll only break through that. Or you could do vice versa and make it so that it'll only break through wood walls because wood is the weakest, and then make it so that brick and metal, you can't just sprint through them and instant break them. In my opinion, I think that this would just be a little more balanced. And look, it's no surprise that we're seeing this. Epic Games is no stranger to adding absolutely broken things on the day of the season to get everybody talking about it, getting everybody playing it, and then they'll kind of slowly nerf it over time. We saw this with the Shockwave Hammer originally having 4 instead of 3. We saw it with the Kinetic Blade. So it's no surprise that we're seeing super broken stuff on the launch of a new season. But I really only hammer on the negative stuff. Let's talk about some of the positive stuff this season. Of course, in terms of mobility, we're seeing some of the best mobility ever. The Nitro Gloves are great mobility. Now, as a weapon, they may be broken, and that's a whole different discussion to have, especially in builds. You can literally just break through everything. As a mobility item, they are fantastic. They remind me so much of the Kinetic Blade, and I cannot say enough about how good these are for mobility. And I honestly think that the regular loot pool itself is not terrible. I won't say it's great, but it's really not that bad. We are seeing the reintroduction of the Combat AR, a great assault rifle with attachments that's even better, feels great to use. A retuned Combat Shotgun also feels great, and a welcome addition to the shotgun loot pool. And the medallions feel new, fresh, and relatively balanced. I think they could use some tuning, but I think overall they're more balanced than we've seen medallions in the past. And the new POIs are unbelievable. I gotta say, the Nitro Dome is one of the craziest, hectic, most insane POIs I have ever seen. It honestly reminds me of the Agency a little bit. Like, it is just straight chaos, and I gotta say, this POI is super fun to go just drop in, and it's just all hell breaks loose. It's unbelievable, and I think that POIs like this are necessary to keep the game fresh. I actually do like the theme of the Sandstorm, that whole biome. I actually do really like the way it plays, the way it feels, and of course, tuning back with, you know, mobility. My big complaint last season was that it felt a little bit slow, but this season they did a whole 180, and now the game feels fast. It feels like you could always find people, and part of that has to do with vehicles, which I'm sure is their whole goal of this season. But it feels like you're getting into more fights more often, and that's good. You don't want it to be slow. You don't want it to be boring. You want to constantly be fighting people. Again, that's how you get better at the game. In terms of the Battle Pass, I think it's okay. I don't think it's really anything special. I would probably give it like a 6 out of 10 maybe. I think it's above average, but really nothing crazy. I don't see myself really running many of these skins after this season is over. So to kind of go back to the question I asked in the beginning and the whole title of this video, does this season suck? And my answer is no. I don't think that this season sucks. This season is actually really fun to play. There's just some glaring issues that if they don't get fixed, that could be a huge problem for this season going forward. The vehicles need to be tuned. I can't say it enough. It is literal car battle royale out there. And yeah, if they can fix that and go about it the right way, I think this season has a very promising future ahead of it. So yeah, guys, those are my thoughts so far on Chapter 5 Season 3. Of course, it is my way too early thoughts. I have played this game for probably 2 days, so there's just not enough time for me to give full thoughts, but these are just my day 2 thoughts on how the season is progressing. So yeah, be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more Chapter 5 Season 3 Wrecked content. But with that being said, peace.